Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is 𝐵𝐺𝐸 and in today's video, I'll explain you how we can create a Google Kubernetes engine using Google Cloud CLI commands. So in my previous video, I already explained you how we can create a GKE cluster manually from Google Cloud Console. So in this video, we are going to create using gcloud CLI commands. So in next video, I'll explain you how we can create a GKE cluster using Terraform. Okay, so let's start today's video. So let me open this Cloud Shell first. Meanwhile, let me open this VPC network in a new tab and parallelly GKE, Google Kubernetes engine in a new tab. Let me keep it here. Let me close this. So first let me change this terminal name. ES1 equal to Vijay. So here you can see I just changed this terminal name. So let me clear the screen and let me hit ls. Sorry, let me try to reconnect this. Let me clear this and ls. So already have written this gcloud CLI commands. So let me add this gke.sh. So here you can see these are the commands. So now using this gcloud CLI commands, we are going to create a VPC. We are going to create two subnets and we are going to create firewall rules and we are going to create a GKE cluster. Okay. So first let me explain you about this gcloud CLI commands. So initially first we are going to create a custom VPC network. So this gives us full control over IP ranges, subnets and routing. So this is the command gcloud compute networks create and we are going to create my VPC. So this is the VPC name and we are going to create this subnet under custom mode. Okay. So let me open this and let me try to close this and let me refresh this. So here you can see currently we have only two VPCs. One is the default VPC and one is the test VPC. But here we are going to create my VPC. Okay. So after that we are going to create two subnets with the same region but with the different IP ranges, guys. Okay. So these subnets will be used for cluster networking. Okay. So this is the subnet 1 and this is the subnet 2 and this is the gcloud CLI command. So gcloud compute networks subnet create and we are going to create two subnets, subnet 1 and subnet 2 and we are going to create under my VPC. Okay. So first we are going to create a VPC called my VPC. Under this VPC we are going to create these two subnets and we are going to create under US Central 1 region and with the different CIDR ranges, guys. Okay. First subnet we are going to create under 10.0.1.0/24 and second subnet we are going to create with 10.0.2.0/24. Okay. So both the subnet CIDR should not overlap when we are going to create a subnets under same VPC. Okay. So after that, next we are going to create firewall rules to allow SSH and HTTP traffic. So these are the two. Let me show you. So these are the two firewall rules. So these firewall rules are essential for managing and accessing our cluster nodes. Okay. So this is the gcloud CLI command. Gcloud compute and we are going to create firewall rule set. So this is the firewall rules and create and first firewall rule name we are going to provide as allow SSH and we are going to create under my VPC and we are going to provide port 22 access and direction is ingress and priority we are going to provide 1000 and this is the source range. Okay. Similarly, we are going to create second firewall rule with port 80 for HTTP access, guys. Okay. So let me come down and at last we are going to create a Google Kubernetes engine using first subnet. So here we specify node count, machine type and enable alias IPs for better pod networking. Okay. So this is the gcloud CLI command, gcloud containers clusters create and this is the cluster name we are going to provide my GKE cluster and a - zone we are going to create under US Central 1A and we are going to create under my VPC and we are going to create under subnet 1. Okay. With two nodes we are going to create and machine type we are going to create with E2 medium. And E2 medium comes with 2 CPUs and 4 GB of memory. So each node it will create with 2 CPUs and 4 GB of memory. And we are going to create with 20 GB disk. Okay. And at last we are going to enable IP alias. Okay. For better pod networking. Okay. So these are the gcloud CLI commands to create a VPC, two subnets and two firewall rules and a GKE cluster. Okay, so now let's try to execute this. So before executing this, let me show you this VPC once again. So here you can see name my VPC. We don't have even single VPC, and here let me close this and let me select here clusters. So here you can see currently we don't have even single Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so now let's execute this, and before executing this let me show you this. So you need to provide executable permissions for this file. So here you can see for this file already have given full permissions. Okay, so now I'm going to execute that sh okay. So now it will start creating VPC, two subnets, two firewall rules, and a GKE cluster under VPC network. Okay, so let's wait. So it takes nearly 3 to 5 minutes to provision entire resources, guys. Okay, so we need to wait for some time. So let me open this VPC. Let me refresh this. So here you can see my VPC has been created, but currently it is 0 subnets and 0 firewall rules. So let me open this. So here you can see my VPC has been created. Now it is going to create firewall rules. Okay. So let me open this. Let me refresh this. So one subnet it is created. So let me refresh this. So here you can see two subnets has been created. So here you can see subnet 1 already it is created, and currently it is creating subnet 2. So let's refresh this. Meanwhile, let me open this my VPC and subnets. So here you can see subnet 1 and subnet 2. We created under US central 1, right? So here you can see US central 1, and this is the IP ranges we have given. Okay, CIDR ranges 10.0.1.0/24 for subnet 1. And for subnet 2, we have provided 10.0.2.0/24. Okay, so both the subnets are ready. So now we need to wait for firewall rules. So here you can see firewall rules also it is created. Let me open this. So here you can see now currently it is creating GKE cluster. Okay, so now it takes nearly 3 to 5 minutes to create this GKE cluster. So meanwhile, let me open this firewall rules. Let me open this my VPC firewalls, and let me drop down this. So here you can see hello SSH and hello HTTP. Okay, so this is the port for SSH 22 and HTTP port is 80. Okay, so from networking side entire resources it is created. So now let's check for GKE cluster. Let me refresh this. So here you can see my GKE cluster currently it is in creating state under US Central 1A. Okay, so let me open this, and here you can see 50% it is created. So it takes nearly 3 to 5 minutes to provision this GKE cluster, guys. Okay, so let's wait for some time. So after creating this GKE cluster, let's connect to this GKE cluster, and let's test by creating some pods and by creating some deployments and services. Okay, so let's wait for some time. So here you can see our GKE cluster has been created successfully using gcloud CLI commands. So let me open this terminal. So here you can see all resources created successfully. Okay, so our entire resources has been created successfully. So here you can see name is my GKE cluster, and it is created under US Central 1A, and this is the master version, and this is the machine type, and this is the master IP, and this is the node version which is 1.32, and we created with 2 node Kubernetes cluster. So currently status it is running. Okay, so now let me open this GKE cluster. So let me come down. So here you can see this is the name my GKE cluster, and we created under US Central 1A. Here you can see US Central 1A. Okay, so now let me open this GKE cluster. So now let's check these nodes. So directly jump on to nodes. So here you can see total we created with 2 node Kubernetes cluster with machine type E2 medium. Okay, so these are the 2 nodes. So now let's try to connect to this GKE cluster. Simply directly select here connect and copy this CLI command. So now open this cloud shell. Let me clear the screen and let me paste it here. Now let me hit enter. Now let me hit kubectl get nodes -o so it needs to display two nodes. So currently we created with the two node Kubernetes cluster, right? So here you can see both the nodes are active and running. Now let me hit all the pods in all the namespaces kubectl get pods -a. So it will display all the pods in all the namespaces. So let's wait. My terminal is some laggy. So here you can see all the pods are active and running. So now let me clear the screen. Now let's run a sample nginx pod kubectl run my pod. Let me remove this -image equal to nginx. Now kubectl get pods. So here you can see our pod is running state. So let me try to describe this kubectl describe pod, which is my pod. Okay. So here you can see all the events here successfully assigned default namespace to which is my pod to GKE. So this is the node pool, okay, and it is successfully pulled this nginx image, successfully pulled image nginx and created container, okay, started container, okay. So now let's clear the screen and let me go to this directory and let me clear the screen and ls. Now cat deploy.ml. So now let me come here, okay. So here you can see currently we have a deployment file and we have a service file. So let me explain you this deployment file. So currently we are going to deploy this nginx image, okay. So nginx by default it runs under container port of 80 and with we are going to create with a 2 replica set, okay. And now we are going to create a service and we are going to create a service with type node port, okay. So let me try to execute this kubectl apply -f deploy.ml. So now it will create a deployment and service. Now kubectl get service. So here you can see demo service has been created successfully. So now it is created with this node port 31949. So now let me hit a kubectl get deploy. So it will display deployments and parallelly kubectl get pods. So let's wait. My terminal is some laggy. So here you can see, so this is our deployment. So this is our pods. Two pods are at one running. So currently we created with two replicas, right? So currently two replicas, nginx pod replicas are currently it is at one running from last 41 seconds. Okay. So now let's try to access this. So let me copy this first. Let me copy this node port and let me open this firewalls and we need to add this firewall rule. Okay. Add firewall rule and let me provide name like node port and we are going to create under my VPC and now all instances in the network and source IP range 0.0.0.0/0 now which is TCP and this port. Okay, so this is the node port. So let me try to create this. Now let me open this compute engine in a new tab. So let me drop down this. So here you can see a node port has been created. So now let's come here. Let me select. So here you can see these are the two Kubernetes nodes. So let me copy any of the node external IP and open a new tab http:// and external IP with our node port. Okay, so now we need to copy our node port. Let me copy this and let me paste it here. Hit enter. So here you can see welcome to nginx. Okay, so in this video I just explain you about how we can create a GKE cluster using gcloud CLI commands, guys. Okay, in future I will explain you in detail about pods, deployment services, replica assets, and many more. Okay, so let me close this. Now let me delete this firewall rule. Okay, so after deleting this firewall rule, I'm going to delete GKE cluster VPC subnets firewalls and entire resources using gcloud CLI commands once again. Okay, so let me open this and let me try to delete this notebook. Now let me select here VPC. Okay, so this is my VPC. So let me close this. Now let me open this terminal and let me try to delete this entire resources kubectl delete -f deploy.yaml. Now let me hit kubectl get all. So it will display all the pods, deployments and services and replica sets. Okay. So here you can see currently we have only the default Kubernetes service and we have only my pod. Okay. Let me delete this pod kubectl delete pod and which is my pod. Okay. So pod has been deleted successfully. kubectl get pods. So here you can see in default namespace we don't have even single pod. So now let me hit ls and let me come out from this, and now let's destroy this entire resources once again using this gcloud CLI commands. Okay, so now let's destroy this VPC and both the subnets and both the firewall rules, and at last let's delete this GKE cluster again using this gcloud CLI commands. So let me open this destroy.sh cat destroy.sh. So here you can see. Now let me explain you this command. So initially first we are going to delete a Google Kubernetes cluster. So this is the gcloud CLI command. So gcloud containers clusters delete, and we are going to delete my GKE cluster. So this is the name of the GKE cluster. So here you can see. Okay. So now it is created under US Central 1A, right? So here you can see. Let me open these clusters. And here you can see it is created under US Central 1A. Okay, so we are going to delete this GKE cluster first, and after that we are going to delete our two firewall rules. One is LOSSH as well as, okay, so this is the LOSSH, and after that we are going to delete LOHTTP firewall rule. Okay, and after that we are going to delete our VPC gcloud compute networks delete my VPC. Okay, it will delete this VPC. So once when we delete this VPC, automatically subnets also will be terminated in a single time. Okay, and at last we are going to verify all the resources like VPC and subnet 2 and subnet 1 as well as our firewall rules as well as our GKE cluster. If the entire resources is terminated successfully, it will display message like cleanup and verification complete. Okay, so now let's execute this. Before executing this, you need to provide executable permissions for this file. Okay, destroy.sh file. So now I'm going to execute this sh destroy.sh. Okay, so now it will start destroying this entire resources. So here you can see first currently it is destroying this GKE cluster. So let me open this and let me refresh this. So here you can see this cluster is being deleted. Okay, so now again it takes nearly 2 to 5 minutes to delete this GKE cluster VPC subnets and entire resources. Okay, so we need to wait for the time. So I will provide this gcloud CLI commands in my video description. Okay, so I will provide you the link. So just follow that commands. Okay, so let's wait for 3 to 5 minutes. So here you can see entire resources has been destroyed successfully. Resources cleanup and verification complete. Okay, so entire VPC subnets and firewall rules and GKE cluster entire resources has been deleted successfully. So now let's check this entire resources. Let me refresh this VPC. So here you can see we don't have even my VPC subnets and firewalls. So now let me open this GKE cluster and let me refresh this clusters. So here you can see we don't have a GKE cluster. Okay, so entire resources has been destroyed successfully. So, and yes, that's it for today's video. So I will provide this entire gcloud CLI commands in my video description, so please follow that flow. Okay, so in next video I'll explain you how we can create a GKE cluster using Terraform. Okay, so and yes, that's it for today's video. And if you like my video, please do like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel guys, and see you in the next video, and bye.